The movie revolves around its protagonist, a group of animals including Manny, Ellie, Julian, Peaches, Buck, Granny, Sid, Diego, and Shira, who embark on a journey to save their species from extinction after Scrat once again puts the Earth in danger because of his obsession over his acorn. The acorn catapults him into space, where he accidentally sets off a series of cosmic events that transform and threaten planet Earth. The movie starts with a prologue set in the Ice Age time. Scrat, an acorn-obsessed saber-toothed squirrel, is wandering around the ice to store his lone acorn. While looking for the place, Scrat accidentally falls into what seems like a cave. Inside the cave, he wanders around the cave and finally ends up finding a place to store his acorn. Apparently, he unknowingly attaches his acorn to a lever, which ends up powering an abandoned UFO that was encased in the ice. Scrat unknowingly moves the lever to recover his acorn, but instead, he manages to blast the UFO out of the ice and into the cosmos. Up in space, he ends up hitting the planets like pinballs, which creates the solar system. Furthermore, he unwillingly causes a collision between two planets, which creates the asteroid belt. Scrat ends up activating a spacewalk and somehow gets shot out of the UFO alongside his acorn. When the UFO rams into a giant asteroid, Scrat leaps onto the asteroid's surface. Moreover, he ends up burying his acorn into the asteroid, that naturally causing the asteroid to split. And the prologue ends with a giant asteroid hurtling towards the Earth. On Earth, Manny the mammoth and his daughter, Peaches, are playing hockey with a turtle shell while Crash and his brother Eddie act as hilarious sports hosts. The mischievous duo, Peaches outwit her father's defense and scores into the goalposts. After some time, they are joined by Julian, who is Peaches' fiancé, Ellie, a lovable mammoth who's Manny's wife, and Granny, a wizened old ground sloth on the ice rink. Manny does not seem to be happy with Julian and Peach's affection towards each other. Ellie pokes fun at Manny's loss and questions if he was whooped again in the game. Crash and Eddie decides to play hockey, but instead of playing, they are more like attacking and tackling each other. Once the siblings are done with their stupid dispute, Julian gifts Ellie Buttercup's flowers, who seems to love them and indirectly taunts Manny for not giving her flowers, which infuriates Manny just like every other thing Julian does. Julian surprises Manny by giving him an unexpected giant bear hug, but Manny hesitates and feels uncomfortable. Manny's dumbfounded expressions in the scene were cheery on the top. Ellie then pulls Peaches away to discuss the thing, which in the next scenes is revealed to be a surprise anniversary party for Manny. Meanwhile, Peaches and Ellie leave their prospective partners by using girl things as an excuse. On the other hand, Sid, a ground sloth, is practicing a proposal for a female sloth named Francine, whom he met on his first date, which lasted for only 14 minutes. Sid proposes to Francine with a ring and a clamshell, but unfortunately, she rejects his offer and dumps him for being too clingy. Sid tries changing her mind to stay with him, including the fact that he has planned their future, their wedding, their 8 kids, and their burial plots. Furthermore, he even hired a mariachi band. Dissatisfied, she pulls a clingy Sid off her back before walking out. As she leaves, Francine reminds herself to start dating outside her species. Meanwhile, a heartbroken Sid asks if the breakup is because of the bikini he made her wear, unaware it was poison ivy. This infuriates Francine, and she throws the bikini at Sid's face before walking away. Sid, who is unaware of poison ivy's allergic reaction, wipes his face with it, which results in Sid's eyes and nose inflaming. Meanwhile, Manny talks to Diego, a tiger, about Ellie's weird behavior of recently giggling and wiggling for some unknown reason. Manny asks Diego if Shira, his wife, ever giggles. Diego glances over to his wife, who is ferociously chasing a gazelle, and answers that his mate is not a big giggler. A heartbroken Sid walks to them, and by seeing his state, Diego guesses that he has been dumped. Sid thinks that everybody has gotten something, whereas all he got boyish good looks and a mariachi band. Ellie, along with other animals, surprises Manny with a surprise party for their anniversary, which Manny has forgotten about. But when it's Manny's turn to present his gift, everyone chants for him. However, everyone expresses their disappointment when Manny does not bring out any presents for Ellie. But luckily, before it becomes more obvious, mesmerizing fireworks light up in the sky. Much to Manny's relief, everyone thinks the fireworks are Manny's gift to Ellie. Ellie is such a lovely partner, unlike Manny. Diego and Shira want to start a family but fear their children won't make any friends as the other kids are afraid of saber-toothed tigers, and they end up scaring a young aardvark and a young starling. In the meantime, Julian praises Manny for his education and marital excellence and lets it slip that he and Peaches will be moving away from Manny and Ellie after getting married, as the pair wants to travel and explore the world, even though they believe the two of them would live near them as neighbors, much to Manny's disapproval as he finds Julian annoying and incapable of protecting Peaches. The cat is out of the bag. Moments later, the party is interrupted by a meteor falling towards the Earth. Manny instructs everyone to leave and take cover. Upon Manny's warning, the animals run for cover as a full-blown meteor shower starts coming down. Meanwhile, the herd runs into a cave and waits for the situation outside to calm down. While in the underground Lost World, Gavin and his two children, Gertie and Roger, steal an egg from a triceratops. Their actions are directed by Buck, a weasel who was showering at the time. He promises the mother triceratops to help her recover the egg, and so a thrilling chase between Buck and Dino Trio begins. While singing a song, Buck swoops down and chases after the Dino Trio. He retrieves the egg and returns it to its mother. As Buck glides through the underground jungle, he overhears the commotion above where the ice was. Buck hits headfirst into a rock, which results in him falling into an underground tunnel. Buck carefully walks through the tunnel, and there he encounters a stone tablet, a large, stone-like rectangle carved with the history of asteroids hitting the Earth. Meanwhile, Manny and the herd come out of the cave. They look upon the damage caused by the asteroids, and while exploring, they stumble upon a hole with a mysterious purple smoke. Additionally, a figure has been making noises and is trying to come out of the hole. Manny tries to investigate the hole, and it is then revealed that the mysterious figure is none other than Buck himself. Buck has been trying to come out of the hole along with the stone tablet. With the help of Manny, he manages to come out of the hole. Upon arriving, he meets Julian and reveals the stone tablet that he has discovered. Furthermore, he explains that every few millions of years, Earth gets cleansed by a gigantic asteroid that crashes in the same spot. So if they can head to the crash site, they can perhaps figure out a way to stop this asteroid from hitting Earth. He further informs the herd that they only have 2 days, 4 hours, 1 minute, and 16 seconds to prevent the asteroid from hitting the Earth. While the group embarks on the thrilling journey, the Dino Trio who are after Buck overhears his plans, and Gavin ploys to follow the herd. He believes that they could easily avoid the impact due to their natural ability to fly, thus not only getting their revenge on Buck, but also eradicating Earth's population and securing domination over the planet for the dinosaurs once again. But Roger calls him out on that being a bad idea, so Gavin berates him like always. Moreover, Gavin and Gertie strong-arm him into cooperating and asks him to use his shark eyesight to look for the herd. Rogue successfully spot the herd with his sharp eyesight, and they head off. During their journey, Peaches informs Julian that if they do not make it alive, he was her only soulmate. But Julian assures Peaches that they will make it alive and will get married. Meanwhile, an overhyped Sid intervenes. He informs the pair that he wanted to be the wedding planner, and during the whole journey, he starts to plan their imaginary wedding. On the hand, Manny and Ellie plan on manipulating Peaches to stay with them forever by making her think it is her idea. As the herd travels to the crash site, Buck discovers that the asteroids have electromagnetic properties, and since Crash and Eddie are confused, or maybe just way too dumb to understand, Buck teleports the siblings inside his Brian to meet Neil the Buck Weasel along with Pythagoras Buck and Robo Buck to explain the magnetic attraction of the rocks, further theorizing that if a huge quantity of smaller asteroids should be gathered and launched into orbit, they could propel the main asteroid away from Earth by changing its trajectory, thus stopping it from hitting on the crashing site. Buck instructs the herd to never leave the trail while waking up at the crash site, but when he realizes Dino Trio is following them, he changes his command and instructs the herd to move into the forest. All while in space, Acorn-obsessed Scrat unwillingly sends obstacles toward Earth. He pulls the moon around the planet to cause water to rise, which helps the herd pass through. Then he hits another planet and causes an electric storm. After escaping the storm, Buck overhears a baby and runs inside. He then adopts the baby pumpkin as his own and names her Bronwyn. After facing several obstacles and interference from the Dino Trio, and a long, hectic day, the herd rests for the night. The following morning, the herd arrives at a community of immortal animals that has been formed inside one of the asteroids that have fallen long ago, and are called Geotopia. They find Granny getting a massage from a bunny named Teddy, and Sid meets Brooke, a female ground sloth who instantly falls in love with him. She takes the herd to a llama named the Shangri Llama, who is supremely serene and the master of meditations. The llama makes the herd do some yoga exercises as Buck tries to ask him for help in launching the magnetic crystals up in the air to stop the incoming asteroid. However, he refuses to cooperate with Buck's plan to use the city's crystals in order to stop the asteroid, as they are the key to the residents' uncommon longevity. After seeing how sad Peaches is after learning that their last chance of survival is gone, Manny and Ellie regret their actions of manipulating her. Brooke asks Sid to be her life mate, which he happily accepts. Sid inadvertently destroys the entire city when he attempts to remove one of the crystals to present Brooke with a crystal gift, and the destruction of Geotopia results in the immortal animals immediately aging to their real ages and revealing their true crone-like appearances, much to Shangri-Llama's anger. Shangri-Llama chastises Sid. Moreover, he calls him a stupendously stupid sloth. Buck plans to fill up a volcano with the gigantic ball made up of all the crystals so that the pressure launches them into space to draw the asteroid away, but Shangri-Llama is reluctant to help. Brooke acknowledges the danger that is about to take place, so she convinces the other Geotopians to help the herd. Buck instructs the animals to fill up the geysers to prevent any gas leakage, and then he instructs Time to make a gigantic crystal ball they can put into an active volcano to shoot into the sky to pull the asteroid off course. As they were working, Buck looked up into the sky to determine the time impact of the asteroid, witnessing that the mammals were ahead of its timing of colliding with Earth. On the other hand, Scrat prepares to head back to Earth. Unfortunately, he ends up crashing into the asteroid, causing it to head toward Earth faster. Noticing this, Buck instructs the animals to work harder with getting the biggest crystal inside the volcano. As they set the plan in motion, the Dino Trio intervenes and prevents the animals from getting into the largest crystal by knocking it over in a ditch. Roger captures Buck, who appeals to him to help Buck convince Gavin and Gertie to help them in filling the volcano. Roger realizes that he and his family will not survive if the asteroid falls, so he asks his father to keep his order aside and focus on more important things. The Dino Trio finally puts their differences aside and helps pull the biggest crystal toward the volcano, but it is too heavy to push in. Manny tries to do it with Julian, but Julian suggests they let it roll down the hill so that it can eventually roll into the volcano. The plan works, but the crystals don't shoot up until Granny plugs up the last geyser. The volcano then violently erupts, sending the magnetic crystal shards to the sky, which diverts the oncoming asteroid then off course and back into space, and the animals sleek state their victory. The herd decides to depart back home, including Sid, who parts ways from Brooke. Meanwhile, Granny decides to stay in Geotopia. But just before they leave, Sid and Brooke gift each other their portraits to remember one another. After Sid leaves, the Geotopians get into a hot tub, and a small crystal shard falls inside a hot spring, giving it rejuvenating properties and making the Geotopians and Granny, who stayed behind with them, regain their youth. After the herd returns, Manny and Ellie reconcile with Peaches, encouraging her to chase her dreams. Peaches and Julian then celebrate their wedding, and afterward, Diego and Shira tell the same kids they scared earlier the story of how they helped save the world. Additionally, a rejuvenated Brooke appears during the ceremony to reunite with Sid, much to his surprise. The movie ends with Neil to buck weasel us to Mars to show that it was once a hospitable planet. This changes when Scrat shows up and dries the place out, making it uninhabitable. It eliminates strange Mars creatures and flees back into his ship. During a mid-credit scene, Scrat appears again with his acorn, but his snout gets slammed by a door. When he tries to get his acorn, he ends up getting beaten by the door several times until he quickly runs through. Scrat grabs his acorn and blows a raspberry at the door until it opens vertically, smacking him. This causes the acorn to bounce into a room where several doors stand between the acorn and Scrat. Meanwhile, Scrat's yellings are then heard as the UFO flies through space.